Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk to you about our Word of Mouth Mammogram e-network hub. The hub started in 2013 when we formed a multi-professional team to look at how we might be able to improve patient information around the issue of breast screening. I'll tell you a little bit more about why we had that idea on the next slide. In 2014, we used social media to actually start to collect information about what would go onto the hub and what the hub would look like. So that wasn't the hub itself, that was a separate social media site that we used to do our piece of research to produce the hub, and I'll be able to tell you about that in a moment as well. And then in 2015, the hub was finally created, and we linked that to our Twitter account for WoMMeN and our Facebook account for WoMMeN. In 2016, we formally launched the hub on the 8th of March, and we also undertook a couple of associated pieces of research, which was funded by the College of Radiographers Industrial Partnership Scheme. And that was to look at how practitioners would feel about going online, talking to women about breast screening in an online public space, and also what employers might think about that as well. Then in 2017, we're now at a point where we're wanting to promote the hub, get more visitors to the hub, and do some real in-depth evaluation of whether it's effective or not. And as they say, from little acorns, mighty oaks grow, and I'd like to present to you a little bit more about our mighty oak and our journey to that oak tree. On the way, we've also undertaken additional work and made sure that we've captured all our findings and disseminated this. So the team's written a book chapter, 2 peer-reviewed articles which are currently being published, but we've got 4 more currently being written, 2 of which have been accepted, subject to some minor amendments. We've had 12 conference presentations, we've written numerous blogs. We featured as an item on the Academy of NHS Fab Stuff. AuntMinnie.com chose to write about the presentation of our project at the European Congress of Radiology last year. When it was presented there, we featured as a write-up. And Public Health England contacted us to have a short piece in their publication Healthy Conversations. Because of all of this, the College of Radiographers also acknowledged what good work the team had done and how we'd worked very well as a team. And we got the UK Team of the Year award in November last year, which was fantastic. So let me tell you a little bit more about our team. The centre hub of the team are 7 radiographers, 2 academics and 5 clinical practitioners who are radiographers but undertake mammography. And we obviously use the WoMMeN Hub in our day-to-day practice. But in developing the hub, we've worked very closely with a number of other very, very important people. Key is Jo Taylor, who is our patient representative. We've got a media psychology PhD student, Kathy. We've got a couple of academics from the business school who are teaching us all about how to market our WoMMeN Hub and use digital marketing tools. And we've also got Julie Ray, who's an expert in patient representativeness on projects. She's from the School of Nursing and Midwifery. And we've got a couple of media psychology lecturers who are now busy analysing how women talk to each other on the WoMMeN Hub. So we've got quite a large team of people, and we also are working with external groups, in particular the Asian Breast Cancer Network. This is helping us to understand issues associated with particular groups of women and their particular difficulties in accessing breast screening. Key to the success of WoMMeN has been our engagement with women who would come for breast screening, and in particular 89 women who joined us on a private Facebook group in order to design the WoMMeN Hub, to come up with what features they would like and how the hub should look. So let me just go back a little bit before we go into what the hub comprises now. Why did we start the project? Well, in 2012 we undertook a project just generally looking at how women perceived the pain during mammography, whether they experienced it all the same. And during those discussions, the ladies wanted to broaden their experience and explain that it wasn't just about compression that caused them anxieties, but there were a whole range of issues associated with breast screening that they felt that the current information did not help them to be prepared for. So the study showed that women were poorly informed. That results in anxiety, especially for those who are coming for their first examination, and that increased their perception of pain, their anticipation of pain and their perception of pain. And they said that the printed materials that were sent to them didn't help to alleviate these anxieties, and they would prefer word-of-mouth methods. In other words, they talked to their friends about breast screening and what to expect. Around the same time, Ofcom was showing that the public were using social media to find out more about health, talking to each other, not just reading information, but talking to each other about what their experiences were, and particularly the age group and the gender that we are looking at. So females from 45 onwards were very keen on using social media for this purpose. And around the same time, 2012, the NHS produced a communication strategy which also advocated the use of online methods to engage with patients about a whole range of health and care issues. So we wanted to put together a group of women to help us to design a hub that would be fit for purpose. But with this age group, they're working, so we struggled to recruit them to focus group meetings at the university. So we thought we would therefore take the research out to them, and what better way than use the tools, the medium that we were hoping to advocate with the programme. So we took the project online, and we set up a private Facebook group and invited women to come to us to talk to us about what they felt they would need if they were going to have an online resource for breast screening. That was a really successful group, 89 women, well actually more than that by the end, but over the period of the bulk of the project, 89 women participated freely to engage in discussions, and there were lots of discussions. So during the 9 months we had 206 posts, so that was people posting on their comments. We had 1,124 comments to posts, to responses to those posts, 570 likes, and 67 of those 89 participants were actually active. That means that they would engage in discussions, where the rest of them were just sitting in the background watching, really. And we can see from the pie chart on the top right hand corner that the majority of interaction was comments rather than posts. So posts is where somebody would put an item up. Comments are responses to that item. And this just demonstrates that it wasn't just a one-way dialogue, that there were lots and lots of comments. So women were engaged in this research, and they were providing with lots of information to inform the hub. So we analysed those posts, and the features that women want of a breast screening hub, they said they wanted to be able to communicate with other women. They particularly wanted to communicate with the health professionals, not just other women. And they also felt that it was important that personal experience was given as much credence as the evidence base. So while they wanted to know what experts were reporting about breast screening, they really wanted to be able to express themselves through personal experience and hear the personal experience of others. Key topics that they wanted on the hub are listed there. So it's going to be important when we design the hub that we included all of these features and all of these key topics within the information section. And here is the hub itself, and I'll just take you through some of the features to show how we were able to respond to those ideals that the women told us that they needed. So if you remember, patients said that they wanted to talk to other patients, but they also wanted to talk to practitioners. So we actually set up two hubs two forums, one for patients to talk to practitioners, but also a separate private practitioner-only forum where practitioners could talk to each other about any particular issues, difficult questions that patients might have asked them, and asking advice from each other about how they might respond to those questions. So here we've got an example of a post from a woman. Hi, not all women who are invited to attend the breast screening take part. Some go and some don't go again and wonder why. And then we've got a response here from one of the practitioners. So there's nothing too contentious. These are just general queries and questions that people have. But we found that not everybody wants to register for a forum, and so we've also got a Twitter feed, a Twitter WoMMeN account and a Facebook WoMMeN account. And they feed directly into the hub. So we've got multiple platforms, which is what WoMMeN told us they wanted. WoMMeN also told us they wanted to be able to express themselves through experience blogs. So if you go onto the hub, you'll find there are lots of examples of blogs from patients and practitioners about their experiences of breast screening as well as breast cancer. And they also told us they wanted a range of information, and you can see from the drop-down box here that satisfies all the requirements of the topics that they discussed on the Facebook group. In terms of the successfulness of the hub, it's been online now just less than a year, and it's pretty active. So we've got 4,760 users and 14,395 page views. People look at more than just the home page. We can see here that people look at least 2 pages, and people do come back to us. We do have returning visitors, so it's not just a one-off. Interestingly, around October, we paid our digital marketing MSc student to do some special promotion of the hub on a range of different social media platforms, and you can see that we've got some peak activity. And during this time, we therefore also identified that we could target particular low uptake groups of women through this clever marketing and drive certain groups and communities to the hub. So we decided to carry out an online survey during this time to see whether women found the hub useful. That was a pilot evaluation that's going to be extended this year, but the feedback from that pilot evaluation was quite interesting. The survey took place in November to December. We only had 57 participants, but of those, 37.5% said they were likely to change their screening behaviour as a result of visiting the hub, and another around 20% said they probably would. And the rest of the people visiting said they'd already made their mind up that they were going to go for screening, or 1 or 2 had made their mind up they weren't definitely going for screening. And we asked the question, was the WoMMeN Hub a useful source of information about breast screening? And we had nobody disagree with that statement, and more than 50% strongly agreed with it. So it seems to satisfy the requirements of women at the moment. So we have got some future work that needs to be done now, really important work, and we've managed to secure £15,000 HIFE grant through the University of Salford, and we're going to use that to promote and evaluate the WoMMeN Hub further with leaflets, digital marketing, etc. And we're going to also look at what we've learnt about how to use social media, the issues for professionals, because it can be quite an anxious time for a professional to go online and start to talk about their work and to engage with patients online if they're not used to doing that. There are all sorts of issues around professional legislation, guidelines about what can be said, what can't be said, and we have learnt a lot from that and from a project that we've done related to that that will enable us to develop some online learning packages for those health professionals. And we want to also explore this idea of targeted digital marketing to look at low uptake groups, so we can promote not just messages about breast screening but a whole range of health promotion. We've also put together a student designathon where we're going to get students from across the university to explore the creation of other patient social media networks. So using the WoMMeN Hub as an example, they will then look at how other groups might have something that's specific to them. So we're going to do quite a lot with this with this £15,000. Some other outcomes from the last 2 or 3 years working with this wide group of people and working with this incredible group of mammographers who had previously never done any research. We've enabled them to build their capability in terms of research. They've written 2 research papers that have been published, and they've presented at a national conference. And as I said before, they've managed to then secure the Society and College of Radiographers Team of the Year last year. So that's 2016 to 17. So really pleased with those peripheral outcomes in terms of how it's developed individuals within the team as well. So in summary, the WoMMeN project is a patient information site that is for the new Web 2 era. It's no longer a one-directional set of information. This allows women to engage with other people and get answers to specific questions that they have. It was created by clients and practitioners, therefore it has been designed for clients and practitioners, and as a result it is fit for purpose. And our early research seems to suggest that it appears to be effective and what women want. And what we've learned is transferable to other screening contexts. Thank you for listening. Hopefully we'll be around to answer some questions, but if not, we can always go online and tweet them to you.